Okay, so this is definitely a very controversial topic that me and Jason see things totally different, but we will try to discuss things as best as we can without just screaming over each other. So, this, of course, is the story about the 14-year-old YouTuber named Sofia, which BuzzFeed, I would say, made even more infamous and now is trying to get her banned off the platform for what many people are calling edgy jokes, but there's a lot more to the story than, of course, just edgy jokes. Now, this was a very lengthy, very long hit piece by BuzzFeed calling for, of course, deplatforming. The same author of this piece going after this 14-year-old has previously gone after PewDiePie and pretty much assumed that PewDiePie was saying really radical things when he wasn't, but that's a whole nother video. That's a whole nother topic to discuss. So far, YouTube has taken down many of her videos. They have even put up a strike against her channel, preventing her from live streaming. Ever since the hit piece article came out, she went on DLive, another alternative platform, by the way, which PewDiePie and other people, including our organization, is live streaming on. And she went on there, had a viewership of a couple hundred people, and kind of read the hit piece and went over point by point and used very adult language, to say the least. But of course, this is an issue that's polarizing people on the left and right. Many people on the right are saying that, oh my, just saying edgy words and opinions. People, of course, are comparing her coverage on BuzzFeed to, of course, the coverage that Desmond the Amazing gets, who is a drag queen that the mainstream media usually generally promotes. And BuzzFeed has come out with other articles saying that recently, with a headline saying that strangers keep calling child protective services on the 11-year-old drag star Desmond is Amazing. Of course, running a piece on there that is favorable to Desmond the Amazing, while, of course, running a hit piece against this 14-year-old. While, of course, all saying that this is a, quote, moral crisis, that this 14-year-old espousing her opinions is a, quote, moral crisis at YouTube, and that YouTube needs to act immediately. By the way, this is the same author that tweeted before, "Kill a straight white man on your way to work today." Literally, that's what he wrote. He also talked about other really inflammatory comments, very race-based, very bipartisan article. But Jason, you see this in your own way. I'm gonna let you have at it. What's your take on this story of Sofia, the 14-year-old?
Well, I'll tell you what. Sofia and everybody behind her is getting her way just letting me talk about it and give it attention. I would rather not. Because, guys, this is nothing more than a show. This is a stunt. This isn't real. And by not real, let me explain something to you. This is a 14-year-old girl, okay? Now, you put a 14-year-old anything on YouTube or a social media platform and you let them curse again and again and again about any subject, it's going to cause controversy, especially if that person gains popularity. Now, let's go to her page for a second. Apparently, the video that everybody's been talking about, the Muslim video, has been taken down. Now, I watched a part of her live stream yesterday, and then I watched a part of the video that was supposedly controversial. What I do is look at source material. I promise you that by comparing her demeanor, her language set, and her technology ability between the two videos, that she's not behind this at all. This is a show. There is an adult behind this. I don't know if it's her parents. I don't know if it's an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a friend. Let me continue. Well, before you get in there, Luke, let me explain how this works. You look at the video that's been banned, or many of the other videos here, okay? She's in outfits. She's very well green screened. Everything is jump cut. Somebody knows how to edit. Somebody knows how to light things. And somebody knows how to write. She is not writing her own material. I guarantee that. Is she maybe putting forth some of the ideas? Sure. But where'd those ideas come from? When you're a 14-year-old kid, there's not a lot of places they do come from but your household. Okay? So let's be clear what this is. This is an opportunist moment for someone to exploit a child for money and notoriety. That's what this is.
Jason, do you have any proof or evidence that she is not writing, that she is not doing everything herself? Do you have any concrete, legitimate proof that you could show us?
Again,
Yes or no?
You look at side to side, any of her live streams, and any of the production, and I will guarantee that I am correct. If I'm proven wrong, if you can show me a video of her shooting that by herself with no cue cards that were written by somebody else, without the camera person telling her what to say, show the unedited stuff. Please put some of this unedited stuff out. Here. All right, listen. I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. I'm not wrong.
You're espousing your opinions here. You're espousing your opinions. I'm not saying you could be wrong. I'm saying you could be right. But unless there's any evidence, it's still an opinion, and I think it needs to be labeled as that, because there is a chance that this 14-year-old is legitimate, is doing everything on her own. When she was asked about this on the live stream last night, she said, my father mainly sleeps and works, and it wouldn't surprise me that she could have the intellectual prowess to carry out some of these things. Now, of course, a lot of this is controversial. She says a lot of controversial things that makes a lot of people feel uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, the bigger highlight that I kind of wanted to make here is that, of course, she's being used as a divisive tool, one, but two, BuzzFeed just made her infamous. She's going to go on the Alex Jones show now. Everyone's talking about her. And to me, when it comes to Desmond the Amazing, I think when it comes to this particular 14-year-old, we should step outside of politics and understand that they are still children. And I think that's the bigger context here. But I did look at some of her videos, and she talked about some things that really makes you think about society. She talked about some things that, again, I don't condone anything she said, but there's something worth talking about when she's talking about how men and women, how boys and girls act in school, and even how crazy the situation is in school with, adolescents sending, insane photos to each other. There's a lot of commentary here that makes you look at the younger generation and kind of question everything and scratch your head. This person is very opinionated. But again, the bigger takeaway here, just with Desmond and just like with this person, we still have to understand that they're children, and to polarize them and to use them as kind of lightning rods for the left and right, I believe ultimately is wrong. And BuzzFeed pretty much, they're the ones who made this story very infamous from a person who, again, it doesn't hide away from controversy. This person says a lot of crazy hyperbolic things that wrote this article, Jason. That's my point. Do you agree or disagree? Because again, you could be right, you could be wrong, but factually speaking, we don't know. And what if she is actually doing all this on her own? It would be,
she's doing it all on her own. She's doing it. Okay, yeah. She's 14, so she drove to the store to get the burqa alone, or she drove to the store to get that prison outfit we're looking at alone. Get the hell out of here,
you can buy it online. You can buy those online easily.
Yeah, and with her credit card that she has alone. No. I'd be doubtful this girl has a bank account. Who's running her YouTube page? Who's that AdSense money going to? Give me a break, man. Come on, dude. Let's continue for a second talking about her messages and her insight. I'm not saying that when she talks about school, she's not right. Believe me, the things I hear from the kids, it's unbelievable how far some of this has gotten. When you talked about, for instance, the sexualization of children and the pictures that go around on Snapchat and whatnot, I know what they're talking. Listen, I work out every night with a guy that helps run the Boys and Girls Club. He brought that very same thing up to me yesterday, how he was taken aside by a parent and said, listen, I don't want my kid having their phone. I don't want them having another phone in their hand. These are the pictures I found. I can't believe it. I understand. This girl is very much, when in that respect, talking about those topics probably based on experience. Where she's not talking about things based on experience are like the videos I watched yesterday. The one that was very heavily, deeply saying some things about Muslims and Muslim culture that come from a brain that is not 14. I'm sorry. I'm not saying she hasn't heard those things. I'm saying she did not articulate them herself. And let me say this. When you brought up Desmond the Amazing, I want to point out, to me, the only correlation between a Desmond the Amazing and this young lady, Sophie, is that they are both being abused in different ways by their parents. Her parents know what she's doing on this platform. They absolutely know it, and they are exploiting it 100%. And the same thing with Desmond the Amazing in another platform. The only difference is that one is sexualized and one is exploiting this culture war that is hyped up by the media. That's all.
Yeah, well, the culture war is not only hyped up by the media, but it's incentivized by big social media. We have to understand, a lot of the big kind of companies out there, they're incentivized by getting clicks, by getting ad revenue. And they found out the more hyperbolic stuff you say, the more clicks you're going to get. And I believe online are understanding that, and this is where I think kind of edge humor kind of emanates from and kind of goes off on its own little sidetrack on. And I think that's why people are seeing that they need to be more crazy, more sensational to get people's eyeballs, because people are just getting deterred from all the constant bombardment that's happening in our kind of infotainment, egotistical society. There is a lot of things to say about this 14-year-old. I do believe in some sense of what you're saying. I don't know if it's fair to characterize it as child abuse, but there is something to look at here and to look into. It is important to understand we don't know what happened. We don't know the relationship that this 14-year-old has with her parents. We don't know their participation, and unless we know that, I think it's important not to make any definitive claims. But again, at the end of the day, we disagree on the minutia. But I think me and you, Jason, both agree.
Well, let me
children shouldn't be used as political lightning rods to kind of attack each other. And I think this is the instant where this is happening.
Well, let me just say this: the idea that her parents are completely unaware or involved is asinine. Okay, let's put it like this. If I was a 14-year-old kid in my generation and I was on the equivalent of television at 14, cursing everywhere, they would know. And if I am on YouTube, which is the largest media platform arguably in the world, video media platform, it's now surpassed television. When you have over 400 hours of original content being uploaded every single minute on that platform, it's the biggest platform in the world. And if my kid is getting 500,000 views, 200,000 views, and these things are monetized, which I've seen ads on some of them. Someone set up an AdSense. Some adult had to do that. They're well aware. So to me, Luke, you just can't make the argument that this is an abuse. You're exploiting your child by letting them use verbiage. Now, again, we could talk, I guess you could try to debate me that you think that maybe she's writing all this stuff and lighting it and the whole production is her. I don't believe that.
I think it's a possibility.
But I don't think it's a possibility at all. But we could have that argument. We can't have the argument.
I'm saying your possibility is relative here, but also the other possibility is also relative here.
We can't have the argument that her parents are unaware at this point. If BuzzFeed is writing about their daughter and she's trending on Twitter, I think it's safe to say they know. And I think it's safe to say they knew when she started this. So again, I'm sorry. Is it a different level of abuse? Yeah, I would rather see this type of abuse than, say, taking your 11-year-old and have him strip in front of men and have dollar bills thrown at him. But at the same time, when you're trying to create, say, a modern-day Howard Stern out of your daughter with shocking actions, behavior, and video content, and again, I don't know it's her parents, but her parents got to be aware. And I would be very shocked if they don't have a strong influence in that. I think I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to let you finish it off. And listen, if you agree with Luke here,
children
please.
Usually rebel. If you look at children, they usually are the opposite of what their parents are, especially as adolescents. They rebel against their parents, typically. Not always, not exclusively, but again, we're just guesstimating here, and I don't think it's fair. The thing that is happening here, it's showing a lot of the hypocrisies of the left, but I think this also opens up a lot of opportunities to highlight some hypocrisies of people on the right, which is important to note here in this larger perspective. But what do you guys think? Where do you guys line yourself on this debate? Because to me, there's a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to adolescents and children growing up in our kind of new YouTube, 4chan kind of immersed world where there's not avoiding it. And is she a representation of what many people think? And I think there's another argument to even espouse here, to even think about, with how the censorship is only going to radicalize people like her even more, and how she could even be a possible creation of the overreaction from the counter side here, and how she could be believing what she believes in and becomes more emboldened because of the direct attacks on her. In the larger perspective of, should 14-year-olds even have these kind of, how should 14-year-old YouTubers even be handled, which is the larger question here that leaves a lot of unanswered questions, leaves a lot for interpretation, leaves a lot for bias, and that's why we're doing our best here to try to provide you this story and having conversation about it. But most importantly, what do you guys think? I very much look forward to your feedback, to your comments. Do you agree with Jason's points more? Do you agree with my points? We're kind of having this little debate thing. It's fine. Me and you, Jason, don't agree. It's okay. We're still friends. Hashtag Luke. Hashtag Burmis. Jason. Hashtag Jason. Hashtag Luke. Make it easy for everyone out there. And let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep the dialogue going. Jason, do you have anything else to say, or do you want to close it off here?
Yeah, guys, by the way, we are currently fundraising for Bilderberg 2019. You go to a GoFundMe, go check out our Twitter. We've been posting that. We're almost halfway there, only $3,000. We're both trying to get on the ground, but I got to tell you, DMV, not so friendly. Wouldn't take Jason's birth certificate today because it was in 2 pieces, even though it's perfect. 40-year-old document, no big deal. We really need your support. Luke will definitely be on the ground there. If it's in the United States, there'll be no doubt I'll be there as well. If I can get this enhanced license in Mexico or Canada, I'll also be there. But I promise you this year is going to be the biggest amount of coverage that We Are Change has ever given on that subject. Strap in, and we've had some big years. Luke killed it the last 2 years. We're looking to make it even bigger. So we're halfway to that $3,000 marker. If you can support us, great. Please make sure you're subscribed both News for a Change and We Are Change, hitting that thumbs up button, sharing this stuff on social media, being the change you want to see in the world. And Luke, you got something to say?
Nothing like going to the DMV to ensure your trust in government. Sorry, I had to. Sorry. That's it.
And we'll see you. Bye.